I'll give the first question to Sam McHugh, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Fred. Well, it's been obviously a wild and long off season. I guess the first question is basically where do you guys stand on your schedule? What do you know about what's coming up, and how do you feel just in general about how your team has adjusted to every single curveball that's been thrown its way?
Well, Sam, we're relatively confident that we are going to play our first game on the 25th. We're still working out the details on exactly who that will be. We have an idea, obviously, of who that will be, but we are not 100% sure at this point. We hopefully will, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll be able to put out our non-conference portion of our schedule, but we are still working out the details on exactly who that will be.
Do you have any idea when the Big Ten schedule will be out?
I don't, Sam. I'm sorry. I don't have that answer.
How can you not, like, what's going on? Like, how can they not, how do you not know? Like, is there some negotiation that they're trying to figure out with the presidents, or?
That's a great question, Sam. Hopefully, obviously, we'll learn soon. I mean, we're going to be playing. We have basically 6 practices left. We have to take 2 days off right now, as per NCAA rule, in the preseason. So we've got 6 practices left, working up to that first game. Like I said, that will hopefully take place a week from Wednesday on the 25th. After that, we're confident that we will still have our multi-team event where we would play 2 games in that. We think we know the rest of our non-conference schedule, but until we get the actual schedule from the Big Ten as far as what that looks like, we unfortunately just can't announce it yet.
Robin Washut.
With all that being said about the schedule, I mean, how much does that impact your preparations? The fact that you're 9 days away from your first opponent and you don't know officially who that opponent's going to be. I mean, what does that do for scouting? I mean, do you just focus on yourself? What's the approach right now for you guys?
That is our approach, Robin. We are just we're worried about ourselves right now, and going out there, we're adding new things to our system every day. We're going through different situations every day to try to prepare for whoever that opponent will be. Like I said, we are confident that in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will know exactly what our non-conference schedule is. But we won't start preparing for that first opponent really until next Monday. So we'll get a good day Monday, Tuesday, have a shoot-around or a walkthrough depending on the time of our game on Wednesday, and then go out and play. But I know this. Our guys are excited. We did get into PBA for the first time last week and had an inter-squad scrimmage with Big Ten refs. It was a great opportunity for our guys to get out and play in a different setting. Brought some light and freshness to the situation as opposed to coming in here day after day after day and beating on each other. And as opposed to having our grad assistants and our assistant coach reffing the games, who are awful. We actually had some Big Ten refs in here, so that was good. And like I said, it was great to get out there in a different setting. We'll have a couple more of those scrimmages. We do anticipate back-to-back or 3 and 4 to start the season. So we're just really trying to acclimate the guys' bodies to what that's going to look like. So we will do a back-to-back scrimmage at the end of this week, preparing for the opener next Wednesday.
Chris Basnett, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Fred, I won't ask about the schedule, but I guess just, your reaction when Bryce McGowan's told you yes, and then, just your thoughts overall on the class you guys were able to put together.
Yeah, we're really excited, Chris, about the recruiting class, and we feel we have 3 really high quality players coming into our program next year. Keisha was the first one to get his paperwork in. We feel he's as good a shooter as there's going to be in the country next year. I think for people that are fans of the program that have known he has had his commitment for probably about a year now, to see some of the video of him shooting the basketball. The corner threes where he made 48 in a row in the right corner, the video of that. The thing that really impresses me about Keisha is he is the focal point for every opponent. And scouting reports, because of the way he shoots the ball, revolve a lot of times around him. Teams don't leave him. And for him to be able still to get his shot off, the degree of difficulty on some of those shots that he takes, and to still shoot a high percentage just shows how much work he puts into it. He's played on a very high stage, so there's not going to be too big of a moment for him. He's a very popular figure in his country, and I think he can be a role model for kids in his home country of Japan. Wilhelm Breidenbach, we're very excited about him as well. Matt Abdelmassih, who's done an unbelievable job helping put our roster together, and obviously instrumental in this recruiting class. Our first scouting event last year was in Charlottesville, Virginia, at the NBA Top 100 camp. And we walked in this gym of, the top 100 players in the class, and he told me to look out there and guess who the guy was that he liked the most. And I said, is it the guy in the goggles? He said, yeah, watch him play. And he went out there and he just blew me away with his skill set. He's an incredible passer. That's one of the things I like most. And he almost does a better job passing with his left hand. So he's got a really good, unique skill set as a guy that's 6'10", that can pass with both hands, that is skilled, that can pop to the top of the floor and knock down shots at a high level. I think he can initiate offense, which is very important at that position within our offense. And he's a tough kid that plays with a constant motor. So we're really fortunate and feel great about Wilhelm because of that unique skill set and how well he'll fit. And then Bryce, the news and the call that we got a couple days ago to let us know that he was coming, was just a great feeling, just to show the direction of where we are heading, how bright our future is. To get a guy, the first 5-star in the history of the program, and to come, I think a big part of it was obviously talking to Trey about how his experience has been here so far with everything that we're about. Not just the product on the floor, but our strength and conditioning staff, how great of a job they do, our sports scientist who monitors all of our workloads, our nutrition staff that's here for our guys, all hours of the day. So when he talked to Bryce just about how great of a situation it has been for him so far and how well he would fit into how we play, I think that got Bryce excited. So, to get those 3 guys into our system shows, I think we'll be very competitive this year, and then you add 3 more pieces to our team next year. I think the future is very bright.
Caleb Henry.
Coach, you said when Bryce signed that it changed the trajectory of your program. What is that trajectory? That is it conference championships? Is it second weekend of the tournament, Final Fours? And then just your thoughts on the news about the NCAA tournament changing in the spring.
Well, ultimately, Caleb, we want to put ourselves in a position to compete for championships, and that's why we took the job here. We want to help take this program to where it's never been before and be a consistent NCAA team. When you get in there, you have chances to compete for championships. It's, I guess, a little bit similar at Iowa State when we took over in year 2, took a huge jump, got into the tournament, won a game, won 2 Big 12 tournament championships in that stretch, and went to 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments. That's where we want to be. We want to be a team that has a chance to go in there and compete for conference championships and for national championships, and that's why we took the job. And if I didn't think we could get there, I wouldn't have taken this job. So we're excited about that. As far as the NCAA tournament, honestly, I heard that when I was walking down the steps to come into this room today, so I really haven't digested it. It probably makes sense, to form some type of bubble to, hopefully get not only the season in, but obviously the tournament as well.
Kevin Suits.
Coach, I was curious how the players are handling this right now. You're a week away from starting the season. So on one hand, there's a lot of excitement, the fact that it's about to start, but on the other hand, there still is kind of a lack of information from the Big Ten NCAA, and there's probably some worry and fear in their eyes. How do you see them, navigating some of the emotions they may be having right now?
Yeah, Kevin, I think the biggest thing that we have talked to our players about is all we can do is worry about the things that we can control, and that's coming in the gym and working hard every day, doing the right things to try to do everything we can to where COVID doesn't go through our team. We've still only had the 2 positive cases, so our guys have done a great job with that. And now that we're approaching the season and the rule of having to sit out an extended period if we do have it, our guys have bought into it. but that's all we can worry about right now is going out there and practicing hard, preparing as if we were going to play a full season.
Kevin Knight.
Yeah, I know, Coach Hoiberg, I won't ask you about the Big Ten schedule, obviously, again, but some of the smaller leagues and obviously with the NCAA news today, there's talk of different sites hosting more than one game at a time. Are you able to at least confirm whether or not the Big Ten has even brought that up in a discussion, whether or not it's actually in place or not? I'm not asking, but has it been discussed at least?
We have not had that discussion. Like I said, today was the first that I'd heard of that, and that was just when I was on my way down to the room right now. But, again, as I just mentioned, I think the biggest thing for us is just to go out and prepare as if we're going to play a full season. And, like I said, hopefully get through it and get to an NCAA tournament. I think it's very important that happens.
Michael Brunst.
Hey, Fred, I guess 9 days out, how prepared do you feel like your team is right now to run the offense that you want and really kind of make your system work with kind of what you've installed at this point? And also in those scrimmage settings in PBA with the refs, I mean, what do you kind of learn about your team in those settings that's maybe a little bit different than what you would just, over in the practice facility normally?
Yeah, it shouldn't change. And for us to go out and do everything we've been doing for the past several months, once we start playing games, we don't need to change. We need to continue to go out there and stress making simple plays. We don't need to try to all of a sudden hit home runs because now the games count. It's all about going out there and trusting each other. It's playing with great pace, trying to withstand runs and play through adversity, which I think this group has done a really good job of to this point. How will that translate once we start playing for real? Obviously, is yet to be seen. But for us, we've had a lot of time to get to this moment of starting to play games, and we're excited for that opportunity. And hopefully we do go out and continue to trust each other the way we have. We've built great chemistry. This is a group of players I've absolutely loved coaching. They're coachable. They play with great effort. They're competitive. And again, I've said this in the past, when you have a group like that loves to play and compete, we'll have everybody back in the gym at some point today. We'll have a bunch of guys coming back to PBA to get shots up tonight to try to get used to that background. But we really do have a group that loves to be in the gym. And when you have that, you have a chance.
John Niatawa.
Yeah, Fred, how much thought have you given, if any, to the potential that you'll have a quarantine or that games are going to get canceled, that there's just going to be disruption and it might throw off the normal routine? Have you already sort of set a preliminary plan together if this is how we might handle that? Or are you just going to kind of wait and see how that goes as the season progresses?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are prepared. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But in today's climate where things are going and obviously the numbers where they're trending, you have to have a plan if something does happen. We do have that. We feel great about our medical staff. They've done a really good job of educating us and educating our team. We are doing the daily testing every morning. We come in at 7:30 and test our entire team and the staff that is around on a daily basis. But yeah, I mean, we're just doing the best we can, and what that entails for our guys is doing the right things and making the right decisions to do everything we can to keep it at bay. Obviously what we saw last week, I've got a son that plays at Michigan State. Tom Izzo, it sounds like he was as careful as anybody, and he still got it. So, you just never know. To answer your original question, as far as having a plan, we do, but hopefully we don't have to execute it. But, again, it's about the safety, and we understand that. This is about the safety of our athletes, student athletes, the safety of the kids, the safety of the staff, and we're trying to do everything we can, to get things in the right direction.
Can you, Sam McEwen?
Hey, Fred, who stood out to you in the scrimmage you guys had last week? And specifically, I want to ask how Teddy Allen played.
Well, Teddy had 29 in our scrimmage, and he was terrific. And again, our guys, I thought, didn't press the issue. It wasn't like he went out there and came down and just fired up shots the entire scrimmage. I thought guys moved the ball really well. He was the benefactor of a lot of that good ball movement. shot the ball extremely well. We did some man-to-man work, zone work, obviously preparing for anything. And he looked really good in both of those situations. But the ball movement was really good. Our assisted turnover ratio was excellent, over almost 2.5 to 1 on our red team. And it was fun to watch. I thought our guys really bought into the movement. And again, we just have to continue to stress to our players when we make simple plays, good things happen.
We talked so much about your offense, but how much better do you think your defense will be?
Well, we're longer. I think we're more athletic. I think we're going to have more versatility to have different defenses out there this year, depending on lineups. I think we can, play different types of defenses, man and zone, this year because of our length. I think we can play, maybe small at times. We'll have a lot of players out there that could be 6'7" and above, and could be a good switching lineup. So. I just think the versatility of this team, both not only offensively but defensively as well, is very good.
Okay, we got time for a couple more here. I'll go with Chris Basnett.
Fred, what do you think constitutes success for you guys this year? Does it change with all the circumstances that are maybe out of your control, or is it the same as always? We just want to get better, every day, every week, every game.
Yeah, we for us, it's about taking the right steps as a program. Obviously things didn't end the way any of us would have hoped a year ago. We had some good early games, had some throughout the course of the season, but we want to take steps in the right direction as a program. We were able to establish a style of play that I think fits this group and I think fits next group with our recruiting class that we have coming in. So, for us, it's continuing to get better throughout the season. And again, we got a group that loves to compete. They're very receptive in film sessions. You don't have anybody that, when we talk in those film sessions, that gets sensitive about being coached. So, for us, it's making the right steps throughout the course of the season. But, the biggest thing is, really growing as a program and talking about what I talked about earlier, ultimately is competing for championships and competing for conference titles. With what we have this year, I think the core that we'll have coming back to add with Bryce, with Wilhelm, with Keisha, I think we're definitely on the right track. But yeah, getting better throughout the course of the season is definitely something we want to do.
Got time for two more. Gavin Struve.
Yeah. Relating to the roster, you have a lot of options with interchangeable ball handlers and wings and more bigs this year than last. How do you plan to use that versatility to craft lineups, and how do you think this roster will be more successful than last year's?
Yeah, it's going to be different players on different nights. We may not finish with the same group every night, depending on who's got it going, and what we're playing against will determine a lot of times who's on the floor at the end of games. We have an idea who we're going to start on Wednesday, but that can change. Guys are still out there competing for playing time, competing for the all-important crunch time minutes. And if somebody's got it going, which we have players capable of doing on this team that may not be in the starting lineup, then they'll be in there at the end. But the versatility of this lineup, the different weapons that we have, I'm excited about that.
And last, we'll finish up with Robin Washington.
Hey, Fred, just want to check. Obviously, the news of a cold came out, but otherwise, are you guys healthy? Any other injury-related items to report going into the season?
Yeah, other than a call, obviously we're all hoping for a full and speedy recovery. We'll take it slow. He will miss the year based on the procedure that he had. But other than a call, we're good to go heading into in the opener next week.
We go with assistant coach Matt Abdelmassih. I might as well start with the first choice, fellow Giants fan, Robin Washington.
The only reason why I'm staying on the Zoom is because Robin's wearing his Giants hat and shirt. I like it.
Hey, man. Long time coming. All right. So obviously, Fred kind of ran down the 2021 class, talked about the things he liked in it. I guess I just wanted to ask you, how proud you as a staff were to assemble that class in the middle of a pandemic when you're bringing guys in that have never been to Lincoln, Nebraska, have never seen the campus. And yet, you're still able to sell this vision of what you and Fred and the rest of the staff are trying to build.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, everyone's on the same level playing field with everything getting shut down in March and remain shut down. And I think what you're seeing is relationships are the ones that are carrying through with getting commitments from these kids. We were fortunate enough to have Wilhelm on an official visit last year for the Ohio State game, which was clearly a incredible opportunity to showcase everything that not only as a program but as a university we have to offer all these kids. With K-Shay, that's a relationship that dated back prior to me coming to Nebraska, and same thing with Bryce. So, the familiarity certainly paid off with all three kids and carried through. But when it comes to the challenging times, it speaks volume to the resources we have at the school. Our graphics team did an absolute phenomenal job and putting together these virtual visits, what really showcasing the incredible facilities we have, which is not an easy thing to capture on video, and I think they did as good of a job as you possibly can have and do through video. So all of those advantages to having such a great team that's in the background working definitely paid off with this class.
Sam McEwen?
Hey, Matt, congrats on the class. Obviously, you guys are really good and savvy at working transfer markets and understanding where players might be moving. But I found it notable that there are two high school kids, top 100 kids in this class. So it's more than just finding good transfers. Do you feel like maybe sometimes your guys' ability to attract and recruit high school kids is underrated, and maybe this underlines what you guys are trying to do in blending veterans and young players?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's very well chronicled of being aggressive in the transfer market. But we've also made it very clear that we're just trying to accrue the most talented team 1 through 13 every single year, whether that comes via the transfer market, high school scene, international, JUCO, wherever it may be. We're certainly not going to stop from taking a talented kid just because they're one and not the other. We've always, I feel like, done a great job of establishing relationships with high school kids and evaluating who fits well and can thrive in our system. But the bottom line is we'll never neglect transfers. That would be like neglecting free agency, being NBA guys, me spending 2 years and, of course, Coach spending a lifetime in the league. Free agency is really where you break through and put your organization in a position to win a championship. And the way college basketball is, we've treated that transfer market just like that since the day we walked through the door in college 10, 11 years ago. We'll do the same at Nebraska. We feel like we're a destination to attract the best players in the country, the best players in the world, no matter where they're coming from, no matter what route they take. We certainly take kids that have interesting paths to get here, and we're never going to shy away from continuing to add talent no matter what route they get to Nebraska.
I had a question. Kai, did you guys have to work through a language barrier there to recruit him, or is that not an issue?
Yeah, so early on, yes. Actually, every time I talked to him and his family, I had to have a translator on the phone. Did not speak a lick of English. Currently, his English has really improved drastically where, I FaceTime with him a lot and he can have a decent conversation with you. So, he's as hard of a worker I've ever seen, not only on the court but off the court, because you're talking about, and not that many people on the Zoom call have been to Ranger, Texas, but this is a kid that came from a city in Japan, so a different part of the world, and got transplanted and put in Ranger, Texas. For him to survive the year and have as good of a year as he did speaks volume of who he is as a person, his character, his work ethic.
Michael Brunst?
And Matt, Fred had kind of talked a little bit about Wilhelm and maybe kind of what you initially saw in him, in scouting him. I mean, is he kind of the perfect fit for the offense you guys want to run in terms of what he can do?
I mean, he certainly was, to me, the priority at that position from the beginning of, like, when Coach said when we saw him in Virginia at the top 100 camp. You need skill on the floor if you're going to play in this system, and we're going to win at the level that we expect to. And he brings that versatility at that spot that we desperately need. His ability to stretch the floor, knock down shots. Like Coach said, his passing ability is unbelievable. And, the exciting thing about all three kids, but specifically Wilhelm, is they're not even close to reaching their potential. And that's really exciting because the foundation that he has, Wilhelm, that is very, very good, but where he can go is even better. And, one thing that I've always believed in, of course, from day one, dating back to our years at Iowa State, is, when you give Fred Hoiberg the skill and the versatility, good luck guarding it. And that's how I feel about the three guys coming in.
Just one quick follow-up too. I mean, everything you guys kind of had to fight with, not being able to get out and recruit, and the extended dead period and all that other stuff. How much is of a selling point is Fred's system? I mean, it seems like that's kind of the common thread with a lot of these guys, is just how attractive that is to recruits.
So, of course, the system is important, but the important factor when you're recruiting, especially to Nebraska, is the system is backed up by unbelievable results. Having 10 NBA players in 5 years when we were at Iowa State is a tremendous achievement, and that's what the kids want to hear. How are you going to give me that path to make the NBA and reach my goals? Specifically with Bryce, that's important. When you put yourself in the category having that fifth star, that NBA talk is as vital as can be in selling him that this is going to be the place that maximizes his talent. The system certainly maximizes the skill sets of our players. Always being one of the fastest teams in the country, the faster you play, the more opportunities you have. The more opportunities you have, probably the happiness is as high as possibly can be. And that to me is all ingredients to really having the success that we all think we will have at Nebraska. And, certainly having all the proven results, the proven track record was huge in assembling the class.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
Hey, Matt, I'm just looking at Ranger, Texas here on the map. I don't think I've been there. But since you were talking about transfers, question on that. As the NCAA looks to potentially make some significant changes here in the next year on sitting out for Division I transfers, how does that impact the playing field and the strategy that you'll have and have to change, if you have to change it at all, in regard to the way you approach those?
Well, it probably makes for my wife being even more pissed off at me in the spring, because that means these kids, it's going to be even more crazy movement in April, May, and past that. Listen, I'm always a big advocate in giving the players more rights and opportunities, and certainly this does that. I think that there's plenty of scenarios across the country where kids were penalized sitting out when it was not their doing. I think it creates uniformity across the board, which I think we're definitely in need of. For us specifically, it won't change anything. We're going to be active. Whatever the rules are, we'll adapt. There's no reason not to adapt when I feel like we're one of the first programs to show that you can build a program off of transfers, and we'll continue to show that and continue to benefit off of having really productive springs.
If I can ask you two quick about Teddy. I know you were instrumental in getting him to Lincoln. What have you seen with the adjustment he's been able to make off the court, on the court? Fred mentioned that he had a big scrimmage at PBA last week. So from your perspective and the way that he's adjusting to Lincoln, what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? And we're all victim of it, judging a book by its cover. And, certainly if anybody did their homework on Teddy Allen as a person, it would have been a lot more difficult to get him. But a lot of programs, and rightfully so, stayed away because of his past. I always viewed that as an opportunity to really find out who they are as people. And the first time I talked to him, I really got the vibe that this is a good-hearted kid, deserves an opportunity to prove himself and prove a lot of people wrong. The day he's gotten on campus in early June to today, it really has solidified what I thought of him the first time we talked all the way back in August of last year. He's a good-hearted kid. He works his tail off. He wants to be good. He wants to get better in so many areas, specifically off the court. We haven't had one issue with him. He's represented himself, most importantly, in the professional manner that you would expect, and has represented the university in a way that everyone would be proud of. We certainly have shown that we're there for him, just like everybody, to be able to trust the staff, being able to walk into the office and confide in them is exactly the safe environment that we want to put our players in. And that's when we really feel like we can reach our full potential, when they feel like we have their back. And I know Teddy feels that, and I think he's very, very comfortable, and for the first time in a long time is able to step on that court feeling like, I want to go to battle with these guys.
Next, go to Gavin Struvey.
The 3 new signees for the 2021 class are very different players. How do you think they fit together as potential building blocks for this program?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind with all 3 is skill. They all bring the skill set that we feel like translates to the offense that coach wants to run. And shot-making ability certainly is the one skill set that all 3 bring at a borderline elite level. And whenever you have guys that can make shots in Fred Hoiberg's system, like I said before, good luck guarding it. He'll pick you apart, and we feel like with those 3 guys and the nucleus that we expect to return, next season has a chance to be clearly one that we're very excited about. Just like this year, we feel like we have shot-making ability to really showcase the system at the level that could translate in the wing column.
And last, we'll go to Robin Washington.
Hey, Matt, another interesting wrinkle to this year is the potential for, the free year of eligibility. You guys have 2 seniors. Have you talked to Thor or Kobe about, what their potential plans would be as far as coming back maybe in 21, 22? And I guess what's your your stance on that right now?
Yeah, I think was a great rule and very fair, because although we hope to get a full season in, I think you have to be realistic. There's going to be interruptions, and none of it's caused or inflicted by any one individual. That's just something we have no control over. So to give them that year of eligibility was something that is beneficial for every student athlete. When it comes to Kobe and Thor, we have talked to them about it. It's so premature to even have those conversations. But when they passed it, in fairness, we talked to everybody about it, because, it's definitely impacts every player in the entire country. So it's not like there's any decision being made on today's date. It's something that will play out as time goes on. I think it's just great to have options, and we wanted to make sure all our kids know that those options will be respected, and when the time is right, discuss it with them and see what's the best for them.